Welcome to DRM News Podcast.
Yeah.
Today we're diving into a really somber event.
Yeah.
A truly tragic mid-air collision near Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And, this has left a community, reeling families, heartbroken.
It's a stark reminder of how fragile life can be, and how even amidst, the routines of air travel,
Right.
unforeseen events can lead to devastating consequences.
Yeah, we're going to be piecing this tragedy together using a minute-by-minute account from Al Jazeera's live updates.
Okay.
So giving you a sense of how this disaster unfolded in real time.
Wow.
Yeah.
What makes this event particularly impactful, I think, is the location.
Right.
This wasn't just an incident at an airport.
Yeah.
It was a collision that played out near Reagan National,
Right.
a major hub,
Yeah.
effectively bringing everything to a standstill.
Yeah. And to make matters even more complex, the plane ended up in the Potomac River.
Right.
Those frigid waters, the strong currents.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly challenging environment for any rescue operation. Yeah. Al Jazeera's aviation expert, Keith Mackey,
Okay.
spoke about the immense pressure faced by the hundreds of responders
Right.
who rushed to the scene. Time was of the essence,
Yeah.
but the conditions made everything that much more difficult.
Reading through the eyewitness accounts, it's hard to shake the chilling imagery.
I bet.
Ari Schulman, who witnessed the collision, described the plane as a Roman candle with a stream of sparks trailing behind it.
Wow.
It speaks volumes about the force of the impact.
And tragically, those hopes for a miracle faded as time went on.
Yeah.
Reporter Shihab Ratanzi was on the scene, and his updates reflected that grim reality,
Right.
noting the diminishing chances of survival as each hour passed.
It's heartbreaking. Reports mention the recovery of bodies, but no confirmed survivors.
Right.
And Senator Jerry Moran from Kansas, whose state was the origin of the flight,
Right.
brought the human cost into sharp focus, saying, "We're going to know people who are on this flight."
Wow.
Underscores the personal connections woven into this tragedy. This collision involved two specific aircraft.
Okay.
The passenger plane was a Bombardier CRJ700, commonly used for regional flights. The helicopter was a Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk, a mainstay of the U.S. military.
That detail about the Black Hawk raises so many questions.
Yeah.
These helicopters are involved in a wide range of missions, critical operations. Could this incident have implications beyond this one tragic event, potentially impacting military readiness or even safety protocols in other areas?
It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
Though it's too early to speculate, investigators will need to meticulously analyze the circumstances leading up to the collision before drawing any conclusions. But it's a valid concern.
And as news of this tragedy spread,
Right.
official statements began to emerge.
Yeah.
American Airlines CEO Robert Isom expressed his deep sorrow and pledged support for the families, while also committing to full cooperation with the investigation.
The U.S. Joint Task Force confirmed that the Black Hawk was on a training flight, which immediately raises questions about those protocols. What exactly did this training exercise entail?
Yeah.
Were there any deviations from established safety guidelines?
You mentioned training protocols, but how often are those truly scrutinized?
Right.
Could there be a risk of complacency, especially with a helicopter like the Black Hawk that's been in service for so long?
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
While the Black Hawk has a strong safety record, any aircraft, any system can be vulnerable to human error or oversight. Investigators will need to look closely at those training procedures as well as the maintenance records of both aircraft to assess if any pre-existing issues might have contributed to this event.
And adding in another layer of complexity is the lack of response from the helicopter to air traffic control warnings, as reported by the Associated Press.
Okay.
Was there a communication breakdown? Was the crew aware of the approaching passenger plane?
Yeah.
These are critical questions that need to be answered.
It's like piecing together a puzzle, isn't it? You have these fragmented pieces of information,
Yeah.
and the investigators are tasked with meticulously fitting them together to create a comprehensive picture of what led to this devastating outcome.
We've talked about the training flight, but we can't overlook the role of the environment.
Right.
How did the cold temperatures, the potentially low visibility factor into this?
Absolutely. Weather conditions can have a significant impact on aviation safety,
Right.
especially in a situation like this where visibility might have been compromised.
Yeah.
Those factors will definitely be part of the investigation.
This incident is going to send shockwaves through the aviation industry.
I think so.
It's hard not to imagine a reassessment of safety procedures, a renewed focus on training,
Right.
and a much larger conversation about the increasingly crowded airspace, especially near major airports.
It's a difficult reality,
Yeah.
but it's a conversation we need to have.
Right.
How do we balance the necessity of activities like training exercises, which are crucial for maintaining readiness, with the paramount importance of safety for all involved?
And as investigators work tirelessly to find answers,
Right.
we can't lose sight of the human cost.
Of course.
We're talking about dozens of lives lost, families shattered,
Yeah.
an entire community grappling with this immense loss.
It's a tragedy on such a profound scale
Mm-hmm.
that serves as a sobering reminder of the value of each and every life and the importance of continual vigilance, especially in the skies above us.
We've covered a lot of ground here,
Yeah.
laying out the initial details of this tragedy and touching on the complex web of factors
Mm-hmm.
that investigators will be examining in the days and weeks to come.
Right.
But we're just scratching the surface.
Indeed. Understanding this event requires a deeper dive into the investigation process itself.
Okay.
The tools they use, the challenges they face, that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay. Oh, good.
These investigations, they're not about rushing to judgment. It's about a meticulous search for truth driven by a desire to prevent future tragedies and to provide answers to those who are hurting.
It's like trying to piece together a shattered mirror,
Right.
each fragment offering a glimpse of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But it takes careful examination to understand the whole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Investigators will be meticulously analyzing every piece of available evidence.
Right.
Radar tracking data, for instance, can be used to reconstruct the flight paths of both aircraft, helping them determine the precise sequence of events.
And I imagine the air traffic control recordings will be crucial.
Absolutely.
Those conversations between the tower and the pilots,
Right.
they could reveal any communication breakdowns or missed warnings that might have played a role.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the cockpit voice recorder, often referred to as the black box.
Right.
It's designed to withstand even the most severe impacts, and if recovered intact, it could provide invaluable insights into the final moments of the flight.
You know, I've always thought about those black boxes as just recording conversations.
Right.
But I recently learned they capture so much more.
Oh, yeah.
They pick up background noises,
Yeah.
engine sounds, even mechanical issues that might have been occurring. It's like having an audio snapshot of what was happening inside the cockpit.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Those seemingly insignificant details can sometimes be the key to unlocking a critical piece of the puzzle.
And ultimately, the goal of all this meticulous analysis
Right.
is to find answers, not just about what happened, but why it happened.
Precisely. Are there systemic issues or procedural lapses that contributed to this tragedy?
Right.
Could changes to training protocols, communications systems, or airspace management help prevent similar incidents in the future? These are the questions that investigators will be grappling with.
This incident, it's a stark reminder of just how complex air travel is.
Yeah.
There are so many moving parts, so many individuals and systems working in concert to keep things running smoothly.
And while we've made tremendous strides in aviation safety over the years, this event highlights the fact that there's always room for improvement, always a need for constant vigilance, and a commitment to learning from past mistakes.
It's unsettling to think that something like this could happen, especially so close to a major airport.
Right.
It makes you wonder, how do we ensure safety in an increasingly crowded airspace where you have commercial flights, private planes, and military aircraft all sharing the same skies?
It's a challenging question, and there's no easy answer. It requires a multifaceted approach involving continuous dialogue between regulators, airlines, pilots, and air traffic control. And perhaps this incident will be a catalyst for a reassessment of airspace management, particularly near densely populated areas.
While the investigation unfolds, there's also the human side of this tragedy that can't be overlooked.
Right.
The families and loved ones of those who are lost are facing unimaginable grief.
It's heartbreaking. And while the investigation won't erase their pain, hopefully it will provide some measure of closure, some understanding of what led to this terrible loss.
Al Jazeera's coverage also highlighted the outpouring of support from government officials and agencies in response to this tragedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
President Trump issued a statement expressing his condolences and assuring the nation that he's closely monitoring the situation.
And we saw various agencies mobilizing resources, working tirelessly to support the search and rescue efforts and to begin the long process of investigation and recovery. The Coast Guard was instrumental in those initial hours combing the Potomac for any sign of survivors.
It's a testament to the coordinated response that often emerges in the face of such tragedies, with individuals and organizations coming together to provide support, comfort, and a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness.
It's clear that this investigation is going to be a long and complex process,
Yeah.
likely taking months, if not years, to fully unravel the events that led to this disaster.
You're absolutely right. It's not something that can be rushed. The stakes are far too high. It's about
Yeah.
getting it right, about finding those answers that will help prevent future tragedies.
It makes you appreciate the dedication and expertise of those involved in these investigations.
Yeah.
They're essentially piecing together a shattered story,
Right.
using science, technology, and a lot of meticulous work.
Think of it as a massive jigsaw puzzle, where each piece of evidence, each interview, each data point brings us closer to understanding the full picture. And it's not just about assigning blame.
Right.
It's about identifying those systemic weaknesses or procedural gaps that might have contributed to this event.
We've talked a lot about the complexities of this investigation, the challenges, the potential implications. But I think it's important to remember that aviation, despite these inherent risks,
Sure.
remains a remarkably safe mode of transportation.
It's easy to let fear overshadow the statistical realities,
Right.
especially after an incident like this. But millions of people fly safely every day thanks to the tireless efforts of countless professionals,
Yeah.
from pilots and air traffic controllers to mechanics and engineers.
This tragedy, while devastating, serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of that ongoing effort.
Absolutely.
The need for continuous improvement, for rigorous training, for constant vigilance.
Right.
And it's a call to action for all of us to stay informed, to engage in these conversations about aviation safety, and to support the work of those striving to make our skies safer.
We can't simply go back to business as usual. This event should prompt a deeper reflection on the challenges of managing increasingly crowded airspace, the importance of clear communication protocols, and the need for continuous investment in safety technology.
And while those conversations are crucial right now, our thoughts are with the families and loved ones of those lost in this horrific accident. Their grief is unimaginable.
It's hard to find words that adequately express the depth of this tragedy, but I hope the investigation can provide some measure of closure, some understanding of what happened, and perhaps in time a sense that their loved ones did not die in vain.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the harrowing details of the collision to the complexities of the investigation and the broader implications for aviation safety. It's been a heavy journey, but it's a journey we all needed to take.
This deep dive has been a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring human spirit that seeks meaning and understanding even in the face of unimaginable loss. It's also been a call to action, a reminder that safety is not just a matter of regulations and procedures, but a shared responsibility that demands our unwavering attention and a commitment to continuous improvement.
And as we conclude this deep dive, I hope it leaves you with a renewed sense of awareness, a determination to stay informed, and a profound appreciation for the delicate balance between progress and risk that defines our modern world. Thank you for listening.